Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Great Britain, where we are being gaslit into submission and slavery. So, guys, just before we get onto this video, I want to talk quickly about the what's the opposite to transparency, the juxtaposition between these incidents where you've got this woman, Lucy Connolly, who put some tweets out on social media, and she's got 2.5 years in prison. And then we've got two guys who attacked, I think, 3 police officers in Manchester Airport. One of those police officers had a broken nose, and they've not even been arrested, or so I don't know if they've been arrested secretly or something's happening behind the scenes. I genuinely don't know, but I was just thinking, and I do this quite often, and it's part of my decision-making process. And guys, try this as well when you're at home. Take yourself out of this situation. Pretend, and I always say, pretend you're an alien looking in. You know nothing about the UK. You know nothing about politics, laws, legislation, anything. You're looking in at the United Kingdom right now. You're just looking in at the United Kingdom, and you see, and you literally you see, you're there with I don't know what alien names would be, but you're stood there like the Simpsons, those 2 aliens, you're stuck there, you're on your spaceship, you're looking down, you're thinking, right, what do these earthlings do? What are they all about? And you see this girl, Lucy Connolly. Is it Lucy Connolly? Guys, sorry, I don't want to mispronounce her name. Lucy Connolly, yeah. You see this, this woman, Lucy Connolly. She puts out a tweet. She's arrested. She's sent to prison for 2.5 years. Like, right, okay, right. That's what right, okay. So for these earthlings, that's bad. And then you see, well, what about those people? They're they're punching people, and those people with the police uniforms on, aren't they supposed to protect them? And they don't get arrested. If you was an alien, you'd be thinking, yeah, but you're allowed to do that. You're allowed, that's legal, and that's illegal. So if you was an alien and you came down here and you was annoyed about something, rather than putting a tweet out to try and vent your anger or something, you would think, that's illegal. I'm just going to go and punch up to a couple of police officers because that's fine. I won't get arrested on that. Guys, now I'm not saying anybody should do anything like that. I'm saying that if you was an alien and you was looking in at this situation, that's what you would see. Because, and guys, I definitely need to caveat this because I don't want to get sent to a gulag. All right, I'm not saying anyone should, assault anyone. It's ridiculous. Nor am I saying anyone should put out tweets that are distasteful. And again, guys, if you've followed my videos, I'll say, you can do a lot of things, but you should never be rude or just dispolite to people. It's just not fair. I do break that sometimes myself. I agree. Anyway, but so if you're living in the United Kingdom now, and you're looking at this situation, yes, you understand the complexities of this, of these incidents. Yes, you understand the rhetoric. Yes, you understand that there are laws and things behind the scenes that may or may not happen. But, you've got to take a look at this and think, how is this happening? How is this happening? Or is it, as some people have said, there's one rule for a certain demographic and another rule for another demographic? Because when people say there's no 2-tier policing system, I really struggle how somebody could explain that is not a 2-tier system. You have literally got 2 gentlemen attacking, and I don't know what happened before. I don't know if those police officers deserved it. I can't say how they would. I don't know how this situation happens where you get 2 people attacking police officers and they've not been arrested, or I've not seen any media saying that they've been arrested. There's certainly not been any show trials about them, and then you get this woman who's lost a child herself. So you can only imagine the grief and pain she's going through. Guys, it was that time in the United Kingdom, it was difficult. I ended up going on a drive with my daughter for I think 6 hours. We went on a 6-hour detour, and it was just wild. Anyway, so it's very difficult to look at this situation and think, where's the fairness here? How is this fair? And this is why the United Kingdom right now, Elon was right, in my opinion, my speculation and my analysis. Elon was right. We're heading towards, we are heading towards a civil war. And a lot of this, guys, it really is. A lot of this is, it's ideological subversion that's being pushed on the United Kingdom. You've got this war on Christianity. You've got this war on white working class males. You've got this war, this grey warfare, this subliminal warfare, this influential warfare on a certain demographic. And that's only there to erode and, to erode and decompose our society and our culture, which will make us more easy pickings for this global war of an industrial scale that is coming. Anyway, guys, sorry, again, another 5-minute rant about something that there was not involved in the video. So what I want to talk about now, guys, is I was trying to explain to my friend about, we was talking about inheritance tax, and he's foreign, well, he's Ukrainian, and obviously, there are different countries have different taxes, and like the way I know inheritance tax doesn't affect everybody, but I think they're going to try and change that to make it affect more people. When what's her name, Rachel Reeves comes out and she says, we're changing the rules on inheritance tax. Remember, she wants to get more money. The only way the government know how to make money is to tax people. No civilization, country, peoples, nation have ever been taxed into prosperity. Doesn't happen. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's obscene. It's offensive. It's gaslighting. So when Rachel Reeves comes out and she says, they're going to have a shake-up of the, inheritance tax, make it more simple, make it easier. Do we think that by her having a shake-up, making it easier to follow, do we think that's going to generate more money for the government or less? Of course it's going to generate more money. That's what she's doing. She's been quite clear. We've got a $22 billion black hole to fill. I mean, a good thing would stop paying migrant hotels, and stop flim-flammering and pandering to these people that are coming here illegally. I can remember watching... hearing a speech by Margaret Thatcher. It's been going around X. In fact, if you follow me on X, guys, I shared it like yesterday on X. And Margaret Thatcher is like just saying the absurdity of if we get to a situation in the United Kingdom where we can't send illegal migrants back to their country of origin. She said we're just asking for chaos on a global scale. Anyway, so inheritance tax. Your parents, your grandparents, someone in your family, if they're in a situation where they can give inheritance and it is at a taxable rate, that means that they've worked hard to make that money. They've worked hard to provide for you as a family. And all through their life, they will have had to pay tax. So they'll have paid tax on the sorry, I keep saying dollar. They'll have had to pay tax on the pound, tax on this, tax for this, tax at the end of the year on profits, tax on pounds, income tax, income raisers, all sorts of wild stuff. And then when they finally put that money in the bank, if they die, they get taxed again. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. So why would people want to come and invest in this country? What do we have right now that makes us attractive for investors? It's absolutely absurd. If I had a calculator, let me try and get this, guy. Sorry, this is totally off the cuff. Let me get my calculator. So this 63, remember the 63 billion that they'd said, I'll just do it for 1 billion, actually. I'll just do it for one, and then we'll times it by 63, and then we'll call that billions. So let's say, we'll do it by 63, and then we'll just call it billions. So 63, say if you invest in somewhere, you want a return. Guys, this is simple economics, right? This is simple investment, right? If you're an investor, you normally want a return. You want your investment paid for within 5 years, and then you want to be in profit after that. So let's just say 63 million is paid back over 5 years. So 63 divided by 5. So 12.6. So what the government are saying, when they say this 63 billion is inward investment in the United Kingdom, overseas investment. Guys, just answer me this question. Are those investors there to make money, or are they there just to give money? Because if you invest, it means you want something back. It's not This is not information that's secret or some sort of conspiracy. It's there. If you invest, you want a return on your investment. It's simple. So if you're an overseas investor, where's your money going? Is it going overseas? Yeah, because you're an overseas investor. So at this rate, if we do get 63 billion, which I don't think we will, but if we did get 63 billion pound of inward investment from overseas investors, if those companies lasted 5 years, after 5 years, their investment, we wouldn't see any money for 5 years. That money would then be, the profit would be going back to their overseas account. That's a reality, all right? They're not going to keep it in the United Kingdom because they don't want the Labour government to take it. So that would go to an account in the United States, the Seychelles, Panama, British, I don't know, one of these overseas, offshore tax havens or whatever they are. That's where the accounts would be. So that would mean that from the initial 63 billion, no money would be put back into the economy until the profit's paid, right? Because that's what you do. You keep your business going and you make your profit and then you profit. So that means that after 5 years, 12.6 billion would be leaving the country every year. And it's not coming back. So when the government stand up there and they're all smiling, shaking hands, and everybody's shaking hands and giving thumbs up and, oh, yes, what they're actually saying is we're going to take 12.6 billion of your money every year is going to leave the country. That's what they're saying. That is literally what they're saying, guys. That's basic economics. If I'm wrong, please, somebody put it in the comments below. If I'm wrong and investors don't want a return on their investment, please put it in the comments. If I'm wrong and that's not how investment works, please put it in the comments. If I'm wrong and investors don't want a return on their investment within 5 years, put that in the comments, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are right. I don't know. That's my understanding of investment. So, when people are coming out there and they're saying, oh, we need to do this, we need to do it. International investment, overseas investment, it's not the answer. We need to put money in our local schools, in our schoolboys, in the people that are leaving schools. We need apprenticeships, and we need to grow our economy internally. That is the only way we become rich. Guys, it's absolutely absurd at the moment. It really is. And then we've got the NHS. The NHS are set to receive an increase of 4% on their budget. I know my opinion on this is unpopular, but it's my opinion and I don't care. If you think I'm wrong, guys, again, put it below. I think the NHS should be privatized. I really do. I think it should be privatized. By privatization, we already pay for the NHS. The NHS is not free. It's just that we have no say in where that money goes. So whereas we've got people on committees, people who've retired on committees, and think tanks and study groups about how to make that. I'll give you an example. When I was in the military, how do I put this? I did some work with, I used to work with, I was one of the, it's not consultant. When BAE Systems were looking at new weapon systems or wanted to trial things, they'd come out and there'd be a select group of people from my unit, and they would talk through operational problems that they would have that had happened. So if they wanted a new armored vehicle or whatever, they'd come out with the designs, and we'd look at the designs and we say, right, okay, ergonomically, that's not going to work. That's not going to work with what, and we talk through and we go back and forth. Now, I was talking to those guys and I heard a story that after I'd left, I still talk to those guys. When they were building the 2 aircraft carriers, they realized they were building the aircraft, the 2 aircraft carriers the United Kingdom have got. They had a budget for the aircraft carriers, and then the politicians were looking at it and they were saying, "Oh, this is too much. Can you save any money?" And they went to, I think it is BAE Systems who are making these. They said, "Can you save any money?" And they said, "Well, these are the designs you've given us." So they said, "Yeah, but now with the aircraft, the F-35s are coming. It's going to be too expensive." And they wanted to catch and trap when US aircraft come onto an aircraft carrier, they land and they get caught by something, and then when they leave, there's a catapult. So the Brits they said, right, well, can we do that? And they said, well, it's going to be really expensive. So they said, Well, how much? They said, well, we're going to have to do a study. So they gave them an extra £10 million to do a study. When it came back, it would have been more expensive. So they said, right, well, we'll have the old one. So they just wasted £10 million, gone. And it's so much waste. That's what I'm getting at, guys. There's so much waste in government spending. And that's why I think we need to privatize the NHS. You know, I've talked about it a long time. You know, I remember when the strep thing was going about in the United Kingdom. You know, my daughter, I looked in her mouth, she had really bad strep. I was like, right, you know, she needs some penicillin, antibiotics. So I went to A&E, and guys, honestly, I've been to some third world hospitals. You know, I've been to hospitals in war zones, and what I saw, it was worse. It was like a war zone, but when you go to a war zone, you've got people, doctors, nurses cutting around, dealing with casualties, trying to triage, trying to get things sorted. You had an NHS who just didn't care. You know, guys, I'm not even kidding when I'm saying this, right? I got to the queue, I was in the queue. You know, when you go to A&E, you have to tell them what's wrong with you. I was at the front of the queue, and Karen, you know, she was just sat there. She just put a thing on saying on my break or something. She sat there, got a subway out. Well, there's people, like I had my daughter in my arms there. The guy behind me was holding his leg. He was covered in claret. Sorry, he was holding his arm. He was covered in claret. I don't know what had happened to him. And she just sat there, right, and started eating a subway. Well, you know, while there's a queue of people in pain, and she's just quite blatantly blasé eating her subway. It was a meat marinara. I remember looking at it thinking, that does look nice. And a meatball marinara. And I was stood there. I was thinking, if this was a private company and I had say where I went, this wouldn't happen. She'd be sacked, or she'd have more training, you know, and they'd have an incentive to give customers, you know, us guys whose taxes pay the NHS, we have a better say with where our money's spent. So when we're going now to a hospital and they've got 15 people that are counting blankets or whatever they do, you know, somebody will think, right, what's my bottom line? Can I get away with one person cutting that bottom line? Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a pay rise, or him, because he's better, and I'm going to sack the rest of them because they're useless and they're just drawing wages. You would streamline the whole NHS and you would make the system better. But the problem is, you get, you know, commentators saying we shouldn't have profits where people's healthcare is in, you know, where people's healthcare is involved, and that's true. But guys, do we have an NHS that's fit for service now? No. So something needs to change. And people need to be able to go and put their ticket or their money or whatever it is, you know, to a hospital. So if you're, you know, if you're Mr. Joe Blogs and you go to a certain hospital, that money that hospital gets the money for you going there. And the rubbish hospitals, they don't get any money because nobody goes there because they're run bad. So they shut down, so they close. So all those staff are gone. We need to do something with the NHS, guys. All right. It's not fit for service. It's really not. You know, when I spoke to people during the crazy times in 2020, military guys I know, you know, they said, Sean, listen, I've never seen chaos like it in my life. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we was delivering stores because you remember the military were really helped. Well, the military, as they always do. Guys, I'm a big fan of the military. It's just so much better. When you're in the military, you get pressure tested, and you don't get pressure tested in any other organization in the world. Sorry, there's no other organization that pressure tests you like the military does. So when you're pressure tested, you promote the right guys, because you promote the right guys who can cope in, you know, pressure situations. The NHS, they've never been pressure tested. Anyway, well, they have kind of, and they failed drastically. But sorry, my friend was telling me, he's saying when they were dropping stores off, now whether that's PP, meds, whatever, you know, when they were dropping them off at the hospitals, the senior doctor would come out and just take what they wanted, whether they needed that or not. The senior doctor would just take whatever he wanted. And then the next senior doctor, they would take whatever they wanted. And then it was a pecking order from doctor's seniority. Now, it shouldn't happen like that. You know, kit equipment, stores and equipment, that should be given to allocated to people on a case-by-case need. If you need it, you should get it. Not, if you're the head doctor, you should have whatever you want and everybody else can fight for it. That's not how it works, all right? You know, and just the amount of waste that, you know, he was telling me that was happening in the NHS, it's absolutely insane. If you privatized it, you would deal with that straight away. Now, the best analogy I can give of this is imagine, and it's a true one, when I was in the army, I was stationed for a little bit in Dover, in Connaught Barracks. It's shut down now. Again, it's one of those ones I get really upset about, because when we moved in, the barracks was going to be given over to asylum seekers, and the Red Cross or whatever came out and they said it's unfit for human inhabitants, but then it's totally fine to put soldiers in there, absolutely fine. And then the barracks in Shorncliffe as well. That barracks in Shorncliffe was, you know, it was really nice. It was a really nice barracks. The Gurkhas were there, and now migrants say that it's not good enough for them. They want better quality, so we just have to pay. And that's it. And then the soldiers have anyway. Sorry, I'm waffling again. So. When I was in Dover in the military, there was no system. There was no system to give people a pat. We used to have to go up to Colchester. You know, we had to go over the Dartford crossing quite a lot. But there was nothing in the system to give you the ability to give people £1 for the Dartford crossing, or what's it called, Queen Anne's crossing or something. I don't know. Dartford Tunnel or Dartford crossing, whatever you call it. So what the army used to do, they used to give everybody an extra 40 litres of diesel to go through London, and then, you know, just more diesel, and it would take longer on the time. Now, can you imagine if that was a private company? If that was a private company and that price of diesel was coming out of their bottom line, somebody would look at that and they'd say, Mickey, and he'd say, yes. He'd say, right, when we send our wagons out, mate, this trip's only 70 miles, but we give them like all this diesel. And he said, yeah, it's to go through central London. And he's like, well, why don't they just go over the Dartford crossing? And then he says to you, oh, that's £1. And him saying, yeah, but we're giving them an extra 40 litres of diesel. What's more than £1? And him saying, yeah, but I can't give them £1 and I can give them 40 litres of diesel. What would happen? Of course, they'd give them £1. So, you know, if we privatize things become more streamlined, things becomes better. You become more customer focused, because ultimately you want that money. And guys, nothing, unfortunately, I don't care what anyone says, nothing motivates people more than money. That's just the world we live in, guys. Anyway, guys, I've held on for far too long about some random stuff. Jokes of this video is, you know, this... If you're an alien looking in, you would think the laws are very peculiar in the United Kingdom. If you are looking at inheritance tax at the moment, you need to see this budget, because I don't think it's going to be any better for people who have that amount of money to hand over to their families. And also the NHS, you know, extra 4% for the NHS, and people are claiming it's not enough. The whole system needs reworking, it needs reform. And I think, in my opinion, it needs privatization, and for the reasons I've just set out. Anyway, guys, I'm going to Mac to Grid. I'll get you guys another video later.